Hi, welcome back to the New Era YouTube channel. I'm Paul, and I'll be your narrator today. We're going to be talking about ICEBAT-A. We'll spend probably 15 minutes together, part of which will be in a PowerPoint just to set the background, and then we will launch directly into a demonstration. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. I'm on Zoom, so you can see what I see. So let's launch that PowerPoint. So we're talking about ICE Direct. Now, ICE Direct is a web-based application that provides direct access to the integrity controls environment. Specifically today, we're going to be building, in essence, this little dashboard using a browser. And we're going to demonstrate the functionality that you can access through this little dashboard. It's important to note at the onset of this that the integrity controls environment essentially offers two kinds of inspections. One kind of inspection is a very targeted one, targeted to a specific LPAR. The other kind of inspection is targeted to a specific sysplex that contains a number of different LPARs. And those configurations look something like this: standalone LPAR A, B, C, and any number of LPARs defined within a sysplex through the use of its coupling facility. All of these, of course, have their own parameters. In the case of the standalone LPARs, those parameters are standalone and apply specifically to that LPAR. But in the case of a sysplex, the parameters have requirements to be good citizens in the sysplex. And those requirements are, in some cases, they must be unique, and in some cases, they must be common. And these inspectors know that, know how to identify that, and know how to inspect for it. In addition, all of these LPARs, whether they are standalone or whether they are part of a sysplex, quite likely share resources: data sets, libraries, files, volumes, subsystem networks, security, just a whole bunch of things that they share. And it's important to be able to drill down into those resources in order to be able to understand the commonality or the differences. Things like shared DASD can be critically important from an integrity perspective. And so we're going to be examining that from the standpoint of ICEBAT-A today. And when we're done, we'll come back and we'll end up with this slide. So let me end this show, and I'll go to a browser. And you can see here that we're about to log on to the IBM ZOS management facility, ZOSMF. And I want to point out something here that's really troubling. The browsers will dutifully remember your user IDs and passwords, add them to a key ring on your machine. That's not a good thing. I have mine turned on just to illustrate the point. This would allow someone coming in behind you to pretend like they are you. They're not you, but they'll pretend like they are you. And that might give them access to ZOS and information that only you should be seeing and not them. We can see ICE Direct here has been integrated as part of the links directory, along with ShopZ and support for ZOS and a whole bunch of other things that are ZOSMF specific. One of the good things about integrating ICE Direct into ZOSMF is that it will benefit you, because ICE Direct then will inherit the security that's associated with actually being able to authenticate with ZOS through ZOSMF. But in addition to that, when I click on ICE Direct, we'll launch another tab, and that tab will require additional authentication with ZOS. Again, I have autofill turned on, so it dutifully puts my user ID and password. But now something different's about to happen. When I click Authenticate, I get yet another panel, a form of multi-factor authentication we refer to as multi-factor ICE, that requires me to go and pick up a token, a one-time token, that was generated by the pass ticket generator of RACF or ACF2 or top secret, as the case may be. I go back and fill it in, and I'm on my way. And there are other ways to do this that don't require email, that can require third parties get involved. If you want to know more about that, we can certainly pass that on to you. When we click authentication, we're authenticating again, and now with the ICE environment. Whoops, not sure where I went there. Okay, there we go. And now with the ICE environment and displaying the primary view, if you would, of ICE Direct. Now, ICE Direct uses iframes. There are 3 of them here. One is the sidebar. The other one is the directs iframe at the top, and the other one is the results iframe below. We're interested in my BAT, or ICEBATA as we call it. The data sets that contain the inspection logs themselves can be named in a consistent way, and if they are, we can look them up for you using default naming. This is the first option up here. Or we could use alternative naming that you decided on. That would be the second option here. Or you can create a worksheet, which we're going to use here, that will specify specific names because there's a mixed environment and we don't know exactly who's on what base at this point in time. We'll click Submit Request. And when we do, the little worksheet or the little dashboard that I showed you earlier will be produced. We can do a number of different things here. We could launch an inspector, assuming we have the appropriate read authority to the OPER command class. We can do that. We can go directly to the inspection results that are shown here in these little documents. Different colors specify different levels of severity. We'll click on that one. This will show us the warning messages that were associated with that warning. We could check the meaning of that by looking it up in the messages manual, which is online here. Or we could go directly to the message itself. So here's a message on line 2116. So I think you probably get the idea now that one of the values of ICE Direct is that it links together all of the pieces and allows you to quickly navigate to those things that are causing a problem. And we can see here what we consider to be the problem. And we can also see that some things are highlighted above that and nothing below. But here is the specific problem that we were interested in. If we go back, we can take a different view of the inspection by marrying the inspection report and the package that's created during an ICEBAT inspection together, so we can see the inspection results in the context of the configuration itself. As I often say when I give these, patience is an issue. And so you have to be patient and let this guy finish his job when he's doing this kind of intensive work. The idea here is to separate the componentry into 3 classes. The first class are those components that were used during nucleus initialization, the ones in yellow. The blue ones are the ones that are prevailing through the IEA-CIS consolidation. And the ones down in green are the ones that are related to systems that are brought up after ZOS becomes fully initialized. This is things like JES and VTAM and TCP/IP and CICS and Pageant and Telnet, FTP, all of those things that are major subsystem components of a ZOS environment that come up after we have a fully initialized ZOS. So they can see that. But what could be important is to be able to resort this in the order in which they were last updated. So we saw them in the order in which they are used, but now we're going to see them in the order in which they were last updated. The most recent one will show up on top. And this can be helpful for forensic purposes, for auditing purposes, for problem diagnostic purposes, to be able to see which are causing problems. No problems in the last couple that were updated, but when we get down to this BPX-PRM member, we see that there is a problem and it was updated going all the way back to August. Now, this is a development system, so it's not really a critical problem for us. If we click on the little warning sign, we'll see a different view of the inspection. This is the inspection within the context of the BPX-PRM BP member. There's nothing wrong with the member at all, but we go on and continue our inspection by examining the data sets that are defined in BPX-PRM to see what level of profile is defined to them. And if we consider it inadequate, then we identify that and point that out as part of the inspection itself. If we go back up to the top, we can see, for example, I'm sorry, went one far too back. We can see to the right and the left some additional functions. The ones on the right will give us access to the dataset member listing as it currently exists in the ZOS system. So it's going to go out, read the data set, and it's going to list all the members in that data set for us. And here they are. And again, if we want to, we can sort that so that the most recent update shows up on the top. And so there it is, so that if we're curious or interested in who's been touching that data set, who's been updating it, what's been going on, and we want to see what that member actually looks like, just click it, it'll come back and it'll show us exactly what's going on there. So that's the real current world, the way it is. To the left are access abilities to get information out of the control journal. So I'll put an asterisk there so we can do more or less a wildcard search on all BPX PRM members. And we'll go look at the history of BPX PRM that's currently in the control journal. A control journal is a function of the control editor. And there are two that were found. They are different names, of course, on the same volume. This is a backup. We can click that to see exactly what the control journal has as it relates to that specific member. So lots and lots of things that you can do here. Going all the way back, we might want to compare the content of the configurations of 4 of the inspection logs that we have. Select them, click. This dashboard that comes up is one that would be common to people that are using the Sysplex inspector. We can, in turn, select the 4 guys again and do something called Elpar Analytics. This is a Venn process of finding out what's the same and what's different between those LPARs. We're looking at shared DASD here, or shared volumes. Comes back and it says, hey, okay, here's what I got. I got all these the same, except when we get down to the bottom, there's some differences that are occurring. And maybe that's what you expect. Maybe it's not what you expect. But this will provide you with a mechanism for being able to quickly diagnose that. Okay, so that pretty much takes care of what I wanted to talk to you about today. We're back to our end slide. I want to make sure that you know there are other YouTube videos out here that deal with IFO background configuration. That's given by my colleague Glenn Bagsby, who is the expert on that. And then there's another one on IFO-BG Sysplex inspections that deals with ICE Direct and how ICE Direct can help you to better analyze those inspection reports in a rapid way. Thank you for coming out and joining us. I hope to be able to see you out here again soon on the New Era YouTube channel. Have a good day. Bye-bye.